Welcome back to the Brew Crew podcast, everyone. This is episode 147. We are back again via Skype, via the good old pandemic era, because it's an era now. Pandemic era virtual conferencing. But we're doing it in a fun way because we have beer.
We're doing it in a fun way. We're distanced. So JT is coming from the BCP World Headquarters of Southwestern Ohio, Dayton non-specific, and I'm coming one time zone to the west. I'm coming from God's time zone, the Central Time Zone. We'll say Minnesota. So just again coordinating this. We thought we knew we were going to take this episode we took last week off. Happy 4th of July. Hopefully everyone had a great 4th of July. We planned these beers 2 weeks ahead of time. So that's probably the most pre-production you're going to get out of us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We planned them way ahead. And, I mean, they were gifted, which we'll get to.
Yep.
But... yeah, 4th of July happened. I have news, and it's not beer news. It's just JT news.
Congrats on your pregnancy.
Thank you. I finally got pregnant. That's what I was going to say.
You are glowing.
I'm finally pregnant. Oh yeah, I know. Thanks. It's the hormones, but no, I finally found the window to put the epoxy on my bar, and it looks fantastic. I was really nervous about it because every YouTube video I watched said caution, if you do this wrong, you're basically a huge fuck up and you should kill yourself. Yeah. And I was like, all right, so all these videos have all these warnings. I'm really nervous. You know what? I did a good job.
The funny thing that you say about epoxy, so my Chuggalo Mike and his wife, they re-epoxied their indoors. Now your bar is its own building, where his kitchen is climate controlled. So they didn't have that. Yes. But I was speaking with her about it, and she echoed the same sentiment that you were like, it's like a 3 degree, it can be 62, 63 or 78 degrees. It can't be anywhere in between. It's those 3 degrees. Otherwise, you void the warranty and you're probably going to get cancer and die.
Yep, exactly. And so that was the big concern because, it's in our garage. So we didn't have climate control. We did get some super old air conditioning window units. That helped. So that was part of it. And the weather's been getting less hot. The humidity is still high, but it's like the past 2 or 3 days have been 70, 75 most of the day.
Crazy. It's a world of difference. So I'm in northern Minnesota right now, and it's 90.
Oh, geez. Yeah, it's going to get up to like 80, 81 maybe at its peak today. But yeah, so I finally got that done. I don't have pictures yet because I did the top, then I tipped it over and did the front, which if you look at our Facebook page, the front of the bar has like a design. So I wanted to epoxy that too. So I just finished that yesterday, and I'll get pictures for the next. I'll put it on Facebook, but for the next episode for sure.
If I look on my Facebook page, I see that as, hey, make this as an ad for
I
the
still
BCP
get that too.
800 times. You can't delete it or whatever. I think it pops up more.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, if you have a business page on Facebook, I would love to hear your horror stories because we have plenty.
I never want to see that bar. I'm just going to walk into it wearing my bandana, and I'm just going to be blindfolded. I'm just going to carry a hit stick. I'm just going to be like, sir, I've seen that bar in my nightmares.
Yeah. So a couple topics. I don't see it in my nightmares. I see it in my future dreams because it's going to be great. That's one thing before we get into beer news, actual beer news, and anything that you're bringing to segment 1 today.
Yeah.
2 things. Yeah. 1, I got to start thinking about bar, I guess opening day.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do they say? Like Dr. kind of had like an official.
He had what
opening, right?
Soft
opening or something.
He had a soft opening that I'm aware of, and we'll be able to talk more to him on episode 149. But so you gotta come up with a date. Like I just started
be like, hey guys, come over.
Yeah, I just started putting pen to paper on the summer fling today, so that's going to be coming out tomorrow. For a much more smaller group, which reminds me, I got to throw Steb on that. So I need I need to grab Stev's email because he's not on that distro right now.
And then so I also need to do a name, which we've talked about before. But the other thing is the Brew Crew Bash, or whatever we were calling it. I think we need to revisit this.
I'm all for revisiting things, but like I said, I had somebody come into town and we never did it. So
yeah.
So
we need to revisit it in a way that accommodates. So making it further down the line, or helping people.
I would plan it in the future. I wouldn't plan it in the past. Like if you said, oh, hey, it was 2 Thursdays ago. So that way you would get like time travelers. That would be a way to, debunk that.
So you wouldn't plan something like this to get time travelers on purpose?
Stephen Hawking, that's kind of a Stephen Hawking joke. So he would always plan for a time traveler party, but make it in the past. To see if anyone.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think if you do that and it succeeds, does your memory just change? Because you're always living in the present.
That gets into like string theory and stuff like that.
Oh boy, let's talk about string theory. I'm just kidding. That's not.
I don't know if I've had enough beer yet to talk stupidly about smart things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me neither. All right, I have news.
Yeah,
you want to talk for a while? I didn't steal your thunder.
Oh, I'm gonna talk for a long while. Don't you worry.
All right, 2 things.
My buttercup.
This relates. This is a good topic because
I like good topics.
Well, it's a good topic for me because so Fifth Street Brew Pub has hired a new head brewmaster. Yep. I'm not sure his name. I didn't write it down, but because the real significance in this is that he was formerly a Goose Island brewer. I don't believe he was a brewmaster of any kind.
As a part owner, I was concerned by their hiring.
That's
decision.
Right. You're a part owner, and I'm glad I brought this up because typically when I drive to the area that we work in, and including to the Brew Crew podcast recordings, the recording studio, I usually take Linden because it parallels the 35, and I don't like the 35 during the day. For whatever reason, I've not enjoyed it, so I stopped taking it, and now I take Linden. And one day I was driving down Linden. I think I was either coming home from your house or coming home from one of my very few meetings I've had in person. Yeah. And I was like, I don't actually know what's beyond on Linden, beyond Smithville. If you're familiar with the area, there's like the Hasty Tasties over there, and then the Mahaffey's Pie Place. Well, that's as far as I've gone towards Dayton. I've only ever gone towards Beaver Creek, on Linden. So I was like, I'll just do this. I'm just gonna go.
Wait a second. You're bearing the lead here. So to go home, are you making a left turn off Linden?
Yeah, to go home onto Smithville. So then I go down Smithville. I pass the Belmont Party Supply.
Yeah. Does making that left turn make you feel uncomfortable at all?
No, there's a light there.
Okay, gotcha.
I have a weird driving habit where I don't enjoy making.
I just finally heard about this last week. I
really? How did you hear about it last week?
It just kind of came up organically when I was in Wisconsin. I did not know.
Oh, who informed you? So obviously someone talks to my wife.
Just sources. Sources in Wisconsin.
So I don't like making left turns. It's just I have this weird thing about cars in general that I just think they're too dangerous and we're taking too many risks. But that's a conversation for another time, unless you want to have it now. But I don't like.
No. It's it. And, it's completely fine.
Okay. But I primarily avoid them when there's no light. It's when there's a light, I'm okay with.
Gotcha. I did not know that.
Yeah.
You definitely have a future as like a UPS driver or like a FedEx or like a mass transit driver because they do the same thing.
They do the same thing. Yeah. I will go in circles. I'll make rights until I get to the street I need to. If there's no lights. It's just I don't know. I think I don't trust my own depth perception, but I also feel like people drive like assholes. And they don't realize that, and they do realize what they're doing is like in a death machine, basically. Why take that risk?
Awesome.
I don't want to die on the road. anyway, so Fifth Street. So to the point of the story is here. Instead of taking that left on Smithville, I kept going down Linden. For the first time, I accidentally passed Fifth Street Brew Pub because I turned down Fifth Street once I got into downtown Dayton, and I'd never been down that way. Boy, that's an area. That's an interesting area.
So that neighborhood is called St. Anne's Hill, and it's one of the up-and-coming neighborhoods of Dayton. There's a lot of gentrification going on.
Yeah, not on that. A lot of those buildings are like
not on
the
street that you. Yeah, not on the street that the Angle Street that you came from, but technically on Fifth Street, and some of the off spurs to the north of that. There's a lot of money being flushed into those houses. The houses to the south, not as much. That will take a few years yet.
Okay, well, it's an interesting area, and I was driving around. There's some real rundown places.
Yes.
Some businesses still up and running, also run down. And then there's Fifth Street Brew Pub, and just the crowd that I saw around. It was just a funny. It's not a juxtaposition, but it's more of just an amalgamation of character, not characters, people, but character between Fifth Street and their clientele and the rest of the neighborhood. For now, I guess it's
when you're coming off Linden onto Fifth. When you're coming off of Linden onto Fifth Street, there's a place that you should go called Katie's Place.
Yeah.
And just, spend your time there. It's an aqua seafoam green type building, and just walk in there. Just have a
place. Yeah, I'm good.
Just have a good time. That's the area you're talking about.
Seeing that facility, Katie's Place, did make me. It kept my mind occupied the rest of the ride home with wondering what type of things I could see in there, based on the location.
It's a burlesque dancing hall.
Okay. All right.
So I
didn't know it was.
But
burlesque.
it's where it's where they have the last tread on their tire go.
Yes.
So that after that, there's no. It's a quality establishment at that level.
I'm guessing there's not a lot of like convincing conversation that needs to happen to go from burlesque to like full-blown strip club. I'm thinking it's probably a very short leash. Yeah. And then my final piece of news is Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. Coors Light has, usually we talk about that every time there's a champion in some sport, there's some beer that comes out. It's just a typical can, decoration, but nope, not in this case. In this case, Coors scraped the ice into shavings, then melted it for X number of kegs. And so in Tampa, starting yesterday, the 12th of July, you could get Coors Light that has been brewed with ice from the Stanley Cup. Ice,
spit, sweat, blood. Yes. I mean, it's hockey. All the fluids.
Just whatever falls onto the ice, it's frozen into the ice. Yeah. And Zamboni fuzz.
I would drink it. I mean, I eat stuff off the floor. If I spill a beer on a table, I'll do the move. I'll drink it.
Yeah, that was my question.
If the Tampa Bay team, if this happened with the Packers or whatever, I 100%. I would go a little bit out of my way to get said beer.
Mm-hmm. I wish if it was canned, I would probably buy it. I wouldn't drink it, but this is keg only, I believe. So you have to be.
Yeah, it's on draft.
It's served. Draft only. Draft only. So that's it for me. That's all my news. A lot of news. Myself and the world, the beer world. It's been 2 weeks,
So a lot of what I have to add to this is all personal stuff. So one question I'm going to try to kick to segment 3. We always get kind of long in the tooth, but I think it's poignant and it really applies to my trip. So it will neuter my segment 1 in the hopes that stirs up conversation for segment 3. Okay. So I've been traveling all across this great nation. So I went from Ohio to the greater Milwaukee area to Wisconsin Dells, back to the greater Milwaukee area, to Eau Claire, to New Richmond, and now to Minneapolis. And in each place I've bought beer, exchanged beer, and had to store it. So it's been a huge swap meet. Like I had beer like Chuggalo Dave brought me beer. So Chuggalo Dave has brought us beer multiple times. He brought me beer, Dave. But he wasn't here to exchange it for me. So he dropped it off at a mutual friend's house.
Okay.
And this is like what some of the Chuggalos are willing to go through to give us beer. Yeah. And amazing. This beer came from North Dakota. So he lives in Minnesota, went to North Dakota, brought this beer back, wasn't even here for the exchange, wasn't even here for me to show my appreciation, dropped it off, and then I went and picked it up. So again, I appreciate the shit out of you guys that go to just like great lengths like that. So thank you so much. Sending me broken bottles in the mail. I mean, you guys really go above and beyond. That's just to support the little podcast that could. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, hold on. So you have a chance here to show your appreciation. Just how would you show it?
I'm not I'm not prepared to show what I show to them in private or in small groups. The net that we drive on this, I mean, like your mom watches, she doesn't want to see that stuff.
She doesn't want to see that.
And your sister. So I think about them. I think about the Chuggalos.
That's great.
So after that, what I would like to share is, my wife and I, and hopefully YouTube doesn't cut this out because there's going to be so my wife and I got to go to the Drink Wisconsinbly bar. And the reason why I bring this up is the fact that it should be up. Is it up? Can you see it? Yep. Okay.
Yep, there it is.
So Drink Wisconsinbly is taken Wisconsin by storm. So everyone knows like Charlie Barron's, and there's people from Minnesota, Illinois, or whatever that like try to claim him. He's a Wisconsin guy. Well, Drink Wisconsinbly, as denoted by this picture, started off as like a meme marketing campaign generation type ordeal, and then they opened a bar. This bar happens to be on the same pavilion that the Fiserv Arena where the Bucks are currently playing in the NBA championship. So this is the first time my wife and I have been able to visit this bar, and like their Facebook page is followed by, I think they said like 60% of Wisconsinites. It's just good spirited fun. Well, so anyways, my wife and I were there last Thursday before the Brewers game, last Friday, Thursday. And I can't remember. And obviously, because we had the 125,000th beer that they served, and again, this is right on 30 yards from the Bucks, where the Bucks played basketball. So this last week, he says it's been absolutely chaos. Anytime that there's been a game in the last month and a half, around the bar is 100,000 people plus, just like in the pavilion. So it's been 11 bartenders, and it's still 3 deep at the bar to get a drink. It's just awesome. It's just a beloved place. So anyways, that's the missus and I being, stupid excited. And so the reason why I bring it up is in the last like 4 days, I've had friends that I haven't spoke with or talked to in years, but have been like, oh, I saw you on the Instagram. I'm not even on Instagram. I saw you on Drink Wisconsinbly Instagram page, because they shared that. He didn't give us the picture. So the only way that we have the picture is when they were doing their social outreach, the manager at the Drink Wisconsinbly bar. And I was like, that was just super awesome. So that was going to be my shirt until my wife made me put it on, and she says, it's a little bit small. I'm going to take it. So I lost out. I lost out on the free shirt, but that's all right. We have an awesome story, and it's really spun up a lot of conversations with people I haven't talked to in years that just thought, it was the coolest thing. Some of the comments on their Instagram page, people were sending me, they're like, is that guy John Cena? No joke. Like multiple people said that. I think I was being trolled. There's John Cena is a handsome looking devil, and I just had a little bit of chin hair and stuff like that, which John Cena would never have. It's just, so that made my day, on top of the free t-shirt for my wife.
I did not even think to look at the Instagram comments. I looked at the Facebook comments, but when I looked, there was only one. Because I looked early on. But
So apparently on Instagram, they came fast and furious, and people were like sending me like screenshots of it. So.
Yeah, I love the Drink Wisconsinbly thing. I think it's awesome. I don't know who's claiming Charlie Barron's from Illinois or anywhere else. I mean, he clearly is Wisconsin. I think what he says applies to a lot of Midwest places, and for what doesn't apply, that other guy from Iowa applies the rest, to Illinois, Wisconsin, whatever.
And so like and he does shows all around the area, and they all sell out, and he's fantastic. He's from 20 minutes from where Stacy grew up, so it's just been, like I said, it's just been awesome. So far, again, all vacation this week, all work this week until Thursday, then more cabin fun, which special episode probably coming up in the future. But anyways, it's been fun, and I did a good job of circumnavigating what I really wanted to talk about and what's been a pain in the ass, but I'll save that after I get a little fire in my belly from these next couple of years.
Let me ask one more question about the drink. So the 125,000th beer, you got a shirt and a picture and a bunch of Instagram comments. Anything else other than the satisfaction? Did you win anything? That's still pretty awesome. Cool experience. 125
is such an odd number. Like if it was the millionth or like 100,000 or something like that, I could, hey, like your beer tab is forgiven or something like that. 120 and you could tell like those are genuine smiles. Like we were happy to. And, And again, we're complete, even though we're from there, and Stacy grew up 30 minutes from the stadium. Like we were like the tourists, because I'm coming up on 10 years of living in Ohio, and she's pretty close on my heels and stuff like that. But it's good to be home. You know what I'm saying? It'll always be home.
I would love to do a Milwaukee special episode. I would drive there. I loved Milwaukee when I went, but I think it was different. I used to go all the time. It seemed, maybe the places I was going, desolate, but not desolate in a way that's like a desert, but like a city that should have more people doing things. I would love to just walk around with a microphone and like a cassette recorder or something, and you and I just record an episode. I've been to the Brewers game, but the Rave, are you familiar with the Rave?
Yeah, Eagles Ballroom and the Rave.
Eagles Ballroom,
It's one building, but the different levels denote what event space you're at.
Yeah. And so while you go get your thing, so what I used to go to Milwaukee for Milwaukee Fest or Summer Fest, whatever it's called. I went to the Eagles Ballroom a bunch of times. In fact, my band played at the Eagles Ballroom. We opened up for Coheed and Cambria when we were probably at our peak. But yeah, Summerfest, Eagles Ballroom, Miller Park back then. And it's one more thing I gotta mention. You don't like saying American Family, but I did want to say that American Family Insurance has been phenomenal on my basement insurance claim, and I honestly couldn't have asked for a better result. So you are doing famously with. You are doing famously with them, and I got so much street cred from friends again that I hadn't talked to in a couple of years that either follow me on Untapped or Facebook and wherever, because I tagged everything as like Miller Park is still available in there in tags. It'll always be Miller Park. But I'm glad that they're doing you right, but it'll always be Miller Park. That's what Sox fans said about Comiskey, and then about US Cellular, because they used to call it the Cell, which is a fantastic name for that ball field. And then and now it's guaranteed rate.
I met a Sox fan at Uncle Buck's, which was the restaurant we went to after Drink Wisconsinbly. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm a Sox fan. I'm just up here or whatever." And I go, "Oh, what do you think of Comiskey?" And he goes, "Thank you so much for calling that not the abomination it's referred to as now." But and he expressed the clear division of, even though he's from Chicago, the Bears are the great unifier.
Mm-hmm.
The division though is the Sox and Cubs, obviously.
Yeah, I've said that before. Yeah, it's Sox and Cubs fans in the summer hate each other. They all come together in the winter for the Bulls, Blackhawks, and Bears. But the Bears are the great unifier. Yeah.
And because I asked him if he would still, because he's been season ticket holder for the Bears since '85, which was awesome as his first year. Stacy seems to think he was a millionaire, but I don't know. He's like, "Oh, I just came up," and he was looking for an Uber. I was going to give him a ride to the ballpark because he was up there for the game, but I still have car seats and Betty. So I was like, hey, sir, I'm having a great conversation with you. I would totally offer. And he goes, oh, yeah, no, don't worry about it. It's just money. I go, okay,
What was it? What did he look like? That was Jerry Reinsdorf. He owns the team.
Affable, late 50s, Caucasian, 5'9".
Just
a random.
That's
he would
guy.
blend it.
There's really only like 5 White Sox fans, so I know who you're talking about.
His first name was
had to
Gary.
get that burn in there.
Gary, but
I'm
thirsty.
Oh, I know Gary. What are we going for first?
We're going with the Moeller Brew Barn. I'm trying to piece this out. So even though I'm on the road, I came ahead with the research. Always have notes. All right. So this is Moeller Brew Barn.
Or you want to talk about it first?
Yeah.
All right, let's crack it.
You ready? 3, 2, 1. Fuck, everywhere. Every time. Tastes exactly like how I pictured it. Okay.
Yep. Same.
So this is Moeller Brew Barns Winans Wurtle Nut Brown.
Winans. I used to say the same thing.
Winans?
Yeah.
Winans, okay.
Winans.
So it's a brown ale.
It's
a brown ale. It comes in at 6.3%. This was brought to you by us from Chuggalo Stev. Chuggalo Stev has agreed to be on episode 150. So yes. We'll start promoting that. And hopefully he will talk a little bit louder. You can find out more from Moeller, from MoellerBrewBarn.com. And this website segment is brought to you by Tip. Instead of Q-tip, enjoy the wholesome edibility of a tip after you use it. All right.
Tip.
So if you go to the website, the extremely frustrating thing about the website is there is no history, no about us, nothing. There is nothing. So they have 2 locations. One is in Troy, and it's written right on the can. And the other one is in Maria Stein, Ohio, which is north of Troy, up in the middle of nowhere. That's all you need to know about that. So anyways, I'm clicking
with their new location.
Which one of those 2?
It's not built yet. Right across the street from the Dragons.
Are you familiar with their new location? It's not built yet.
It's new, up and coming. You can see it from behind home plate. It's at the Dragons Park. Gotcha. I guess I don't know what it's called now, but it used to be Fifth Third Field.
Okay.
It's another bank, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I was clicking around, and they have restaurants associated with their brewing, which is exactly what you want. So I looked on it, and on their menus, it has a history of their brewery plus tap room. And it was Moeller was founded in 2015 by Nick Moeller in the hopes of bringing fresh local craft beer to many communities of Western Ohio. With a great core and expansive seasonal lineup of delicious brews, the Brew Barn expanded its production and started its kitchen operations in 2019. So then there's couple more paragraphs on that. So if they have their history on their menus of their webs for the restaurant, not on their website. So I present to you, JT, by way of Chuggalo Stev, Moeller Brew Barns, the W word, Wurtle, Nut Brown.
All right. Wurtle Nut Brown. So I originally thought this was called Winans Turtle, but it is Wurtle. All right. So this is the can art bonus segment.
Significance of the cock? I'll tell you the significance of the cock, or do you want me to wait?
Let me see if I can guess. I can't guess unless it's because like Troy and Maria Stern or Stein are all farm towns. Is that it?
Nailed it.
Pointing at me like I nailed it. Boom.
Nailed it.
All right. Good content for the listener.
Movie.
It does look good. It feels like you're about to hit me.
Action movie.
So for those who don't know, Winans is a chocolate shop in Ohio. I'm not sure how far they reach, but I did not hear about them until I moved to Ohio, and I have not seen them outside of Ohio. And I consider myself well traveled, so I think they're an Ohio chocolate shop,
And you love
I think,
chocolate, so it's like your sweet spot.
I love chocolate. I have not found much at Winans that I've enjoyed. Now, there are a few comparable, I think, places if you are unfamiliar with Winans. Santa Fe is a place in Illinois that is popular, that would be similar to Winans. In California, C's, is it C's? Yeah, C's Candy. Do we have that here?
Yep.
C's Candy
but
is pretty popular.
I know of C's Candy because of Adam Carolla.
Okay, yeah, C's Candy is pretty popular in California. I remember we'd get it when we were there. That's like the common gift basket, candy you'd get if someone came with a generic gift for your party or whatever. Here it's Winans.
Yeah.
And they make chocolate. And it's hard to hate chocolate for me. I like chocolate, but I don't think that they have like a superior chocolate. And you can catch my thoughts on chocolate on the Chocolate Crew podcast.
I do not want to be a part of that podcast. That sounds all sorts of dirty.
All right, so that's what Winans is. This is the Can Art Boner segment brought to you by Stev, Juggalo Stev. Thanks, Stev, for bringing us this beer. All right, so I'm going to spin the can, and you know what? I can do it slow or fast or whatever, but I don't have to walk up to the camera today, so I could just keep it here. So you have the cock, the rooster on the arrow, spins on top of the barn for wind direction, I guess. Not 100% sure why farmers are concerned with wind direction, but I'm not a farmer. What is the reason
there's
for
multiple different reasons, because then you want to know if you're going to keep a barn open or closed, depending on like the temperature that you keep. Like,
I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking like if it's a planting day and you don't want your seeds to blow away or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because
really stupid stuff. Because I don't actually know.
When seeds are spread, it's typically only a couple inches at most, so wind's not affecting seeds.
Yeah, I figured. So that's the part of the can there, and then on here there's these little hearts that are, I'm not sure if that's a Moeller thing or a Winans thing, or I guess I haven't had a lot of other Moeller beer in a can, so I can't determine what's normal for Moeller, but there's a bunch of hearts there. So maybe this was like a Valentine's beer. Because there's also a Valentine's, I would think, now that I'm putting the pieces together, this is a Valentine's Day card. It says, "Dear blank, you mean the Wurtle to me, and then some. Love blank." And you can write on here, so-and-so, drink this beer from me. And give it to somebody. And Juggalo Stev did not do that, which is disappointing. Next time a beer company gives you the option of writing a message to Matt and I, do it.
I'm not sure. He was very uncommittal when there was the two beers that he wanted to do, but the rest of these. So I think I'd like to think that he meant them for the podcast. But either he's sharing his love with me and I'm sharing it with you, or he's sharing his love with both of us. Either way, it's a free, open love situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like turning off the lights and playing Who's in My Mouth.
Yeah. So that's the Can Art, and that's the Can Art Boner segment brought to you by Juggalo Stev. Speaking of playing the game, what is it? Who's in my mouth or what's in my mouth?
Who's in my mouth?
Yeah. Classically hilarious Dane Cook joke, which I could not remember. Winans also sells coffee, and one thing about that I need to point out is that it's awful. So that's it on that point. And many people in Ohio will try to claim that it's great, but they're wrong. So that's that.
Very abrupt.
Very factual. I I've developed opinions on coffee since I stopped using cream. And I hate it. I hate that I have these opinions because I was never that guy, but now I'm that guy. So the taste of this beer, yeah, I'm trying nut brown ale. Have we had another nut brown ale? I wish I could remember.
Yeah,
The spreadsheet would tell us. I feel like we have.
I have the spreadsheet with us, but I mean, I'd have to look through it, but
this particular version of nut brown ale, it foamed that light brown foam that you get when a stout has been shook. So I just don't have as much experience with nut brown ales that I could know that they would have the same type of like viscosity and like foaming action that a stout has. But this very much reminds me of it because it is bitter as shit. Like, when you were a kid, did you ever, your mom bought the baking cocoa and it's in the Hershey's jar or Hershey's like plastic container, and you're supposed to take like a tablespoon and put it in like a cake or something? Well, I've definitely tried to make chocolate milk out of that, and it ruined my life. That's what this tastes like. It tastes like just a shitload of bitter baking chocolate. The saving grace for it is that there's beer in there somewhere, and that's what makes this beer more drinkable. If this was a straight up Winans beer, this shit would be awful. But it's very bitter. If you like the bitter chocolate, then this is probably a 5 for you, because this is as bitter of a chocolate beer as I've had. That again, the beer behind it actually tastes pretty good. I think this is a drinkable beer. It's very bitter. If you like the chocolate flavor in a chocolate stout, or you like the chocolate flavor in any beer, really, then this is probably one that you should try. I'm at a 3.25 just because of how bitter it is, but it's definitely drinkable. I'm not upset with the beer. I just don't think it's my thing.
I am exactly. This is 3.25 for JT. Off the top rope, I come in at a 3.75. I think this succeeds at what it's going to be. It's just not my thing. I taste the chocolate. I appreciate that it's not a milk chocolate. I think it's a drier chocolate, which balances out the nut brown. It commits it to being a drier beer. Like my palate right now is dry. Yeah. So I appreciate that because, obviously I'm coming out of my yum phase a little bit as relates to food. It just took me a little bit longer. So I appreciate that there's other chocolate out there that's just not milk chocolate and not all just the sugars and everything. And there's complexities to just cacao in its form that other people enjoy, like the 80 and 90% just dark chocolate, like more of like the healthy form and not the sugared up shit that's put into everything that most of the population enjoys, myself included. Mm-hmm. So I wish the website was better and there's more information. I appreciate Stev more than I appreciate this beer, but again, off the top rope, 3.75.
Yep, I think we're pretty in sync there.
If you like nut brown ales, this is your beer. This really is.
Definitely.
It adds, like, we like gimmicks with our IPAs. We like gimmicks with our sours. This is a gimmicked up nut brown ale. And where the market space is a lot smaller, I think this one would shine through amongst its peers.
Yeah. This is about as middle of the road as we've been together. One person in the 3s, one's in the 4s, or one's in the 2s and one's in the 3s. We're both in the 3s. It's a middle beer. You don't have to avoid this beer if you see it in the stores. You just know you're not going to love it unless you really like what we've described. All right, what's next?
Unless you relish in mediocrity. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next beer is also brought to us by, I'm just writing in the old spreadsheet is one I'm stupid excited for. So we got the. I'm a meat. Have I ever told you my theory on meat and vegetables?
No.
So growing up, even now to this day, I will eat all the vegetables on my plate because that is the least desirable thing typically on my plate, and I save the meat and potatoes for last.
Yes.
So
I'm so glad you said
that. This beer.
That's
to
what
me,
I do. That's what I do.
This beer to me is the vegetables. And this next one is the meat and potatoes. This is going to be my first beer from these guys.
We should
this
do
is
a poll,
Burial.
like a Facebook poll. Who eats the good stuff first versus who eats the good stuff last? Because that's a really great
or
point.
Intermingles them, or we could come up with a couple of devices.
Yeah.
So this beer is from Burial. Burial's out of Asheville, North Carolina. This is Spectacle of Martyrdom. You can find out more at burialbeer.com. This is an English mild ale, and in this very deceiving can, I don't want to trample too much on the can art boner segment, but in this very deceiving can, you would never guess that there's going to be an English mild ale at 4%. So less alcohol than your Miller Lite, less alcohol than your Bud Light, all of that stuff because it comes in at a 4%. So I still have big hopes for this Burial beer. So the story of Burial beer, and this segment is brought to you by Asphalt. Save all of your ashes and build a parking lot wherever you want. Just compress them down with asphalt. All right. So Burial,
that's
the history.
How asphalt works.
It's asphalt. It is.
Asphalt. It's made of ashes.
Yep. I'm just saying how we can use cigarette butts, and I'm just trying to repurpose things. Compress them down.
I appreciate the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle.
Let's make parking lots. All right, with asphalt. Okay, thank you, Asphalt, for and JT, the CEO of Asphalt.
Asphalt Company. The Asheville Asphalt Association.
My can is sweating, so I gotta throw it on the official coos. All right,
gotta get it in the coos. I got a coos here.
Got to get in the coos. I've sent so many pictures of my trip to Chuggalo Ryan of his coos, and I brought it into Miller Park with me, multiple bars, all over the place. This thing has traveled a lot with me. All right,
my coos.
So Asheville's own Burial, which are highly lauded. Like if you read in Beer Snobs,
I'm so excited to go to Asheville.
All over. But let's go with the crack. I'm gonna pull it away so I don't.
Gotta do it by the microphone here.
3, 2, 1. Oh, way off.
I hope that was loud as shit. Wow, this is dark.
Oh, damn it. Okay. All right. So they started off as a couple of dudes that lived in New Orleans. And you'll understand, like, with a macabre name, kind of like Burial. So they drove to Seattle. And Seattle, much like grunge rock and everything in the early 90s, Seattle and the Northwest was really the bastion of creative beer influences for a long time. So what they decided to do, they had the foresight. They're like, let's go to a place where we can kind of break out on our own. They took a red van, which can now be in the beer garden at Burial, and they took that to North Carolina. It happens to be Asheville, home of the Asphalt Company.
Asphalt.
And their CEO, Ashton Ashwater. And so anyways, in 2013, they started out.
There's no T in there.
In 2013, they started off with a 1-barrel system. In 2014, because of demand, they went up to 10 barrels, and now they're far above that. They're
10-barrel burials.
Yep, they're all over the place with regards to their facilities, the history, staying kind of, like Portland. The saying is keep Portland weird. I feel like Asheville is like the Portland of that area for North Carolina.
But more normal.
Yeah, they buy facilities to like age their stuff. They do a lot of experimental things.
Wow.
But they buy facilities they have
just
specific
to keep barrels of beer. Yeah.
Yeah, they have specific facilities that focus on aging bourbon or bourbon barrel type stuff versus like IPAs and et cetera. Like, it's very cool to like recognize like, hey, we want to kind of keep this expertise here and drive around instead of having it all under one roof. So that's what I took from them. The biggest thing is, and it if you go to burialbeer.com, is they have amazing names. So like Spectacle of Martyrdom, like it's just the illustrations. Like if I tell you Spectacle of Martyrdom and like what I tell myself and I would tell other people, everyone's going to have these different mental pictures.
Yeah.
Outside of the, so the illustration, so it's cool that they have complexity and depth in their names. I find like single names, like Rheingeist does an amazing job of having single names or whatever, but have a gimmick and then commit yourself to that. So please go to burialbeer.com and check out some of these names. Like some of them, I mean, they're almost like sentences, but they're statements or like titles. It's awesome. So anyways, this
what
is
do you
English.
think of? Do you have an image of
Spectacle
of Martyrdom?
Yeah, so it's a Renaissance-esque battle, and both of them are so, but I combine
so different from my image. Wow,
exactly.
That's crazy. Like so different. That's crazy.
I combine like, and then I put like essentially Iwo Jima, that imagery of raising the flag in that Renaissance battle. So they're wearing the ring mail, some people in plate mail, like horses getting speared and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then just one individual that's like holding up like whatever relic or whatever they're after, and that's the spectacle of it because they're sacrificing themselves for this greater good. Whatever it could be, a crown, it could be a chalice, it could be something like that. But so I just see value in their names and how they
totally
elicit like imagery in my mind.
That's
what do you envision?
Yeah. That's so different because I'm thinking the Spectacle of Martyrdom is martyrdom for the public consumption. It's the Thai man who set himself on fire. Yeah. Or Vietnam. It was a Vietnamese man, right? Or
Korea. The Rage Against the Machine CD cover.
Yeah, the Rage Against the Machine guy. I can't remember, Vietnam or Korea, one of the two wars. There was a man who set himself on fire in the middle of the street.
I thought it was Cambodia.
God,
but
maybe I wish I was doing that gentleman service by knowing where he was from.
I think he was a Buddhist
but
monk.
Yeah, he set himself on fire, and the spectacle was this martyrdom of himself in public. He died for a cause, and that's martyrdom. So it's so different from yours. It's crazy. Yeah, you're right. The names do elicit different images.
So again, with these two beers this week, brought to you from Juggalo Stev, one's a nut brown ale and one's an English mild ale. Now, I don't know of an English mild ale that we've done on the pod.
No, never.
I know that we've done a brown. I could go through the list. That's not good pod though. That that would have been me producing to go like, go back to this episode to compare it. But the fact that this is my first introduction to burial, a couple weeks ago I had my first introduction to Drecker. So I'm trying to branch out and hit on these pillars of these beer communities. Like when you travel and you do beer tourism, like I like to consider that I do. These are both pillars of, one's in North Dakota and one's in Asheville, North Carolina. So JT, thoughts?
All right. There's a lot going on here. It's simple, but kudos to the artist for making this very complicated. Because
that's all their cans.
I have more questions than answers. Okay. So this is a Can Boner segment brought to you by Juggalo Stev. Thanks, Stev. You really boosted this episode to an extraordinary level. I'll start on the back, burial. It's even hard to read. It's definitely got this like English vibe to it. I don't know that I'll read the whole thing, but all right, meal, China. I know it's taters, but you want to get down the battle cruiser for a few pigs tonight. Even if you're stony, half-inch a Lady Godiva, and get your Kyber in. I'm not going to read this whole thing because to me it's gibberish. What even is this? This is like the type of stuff that you see or that you hear in like that Netflix show, Peaky Blinders. You can't understand anything. All right, let's get to the actual art. So this this beer is called the Spectacle of Martyrdom, and the art is either a mountain goat or a ram surrounded by papers, and there is one document nailed to or stapled to its chest, and it kind of reminded me of the Martin Luther story.
Ooh,
when
deep
Lutheranism was
pull.
born. But I don't know that was martyrdom. Martin Luther didn't die for the cause, right? I can't remember how that story ends. Was he executed? I can't remember. But there's a bunch of documents in the background. They're just scribbles, so it's unclear on what they are. But I'm not sure the significance of the ram either.
The blood of the ram historically has been prized as like a bestial independent creature. So like the blood of the ram, it's been sacrificed across the globe.
Okay.
You know, because you don't want to sacrifice a ram. Doesn't have value because you can't domesticate a ram, but it has because it's fiercely independent. So like you're not going to sacrifice a cow or something like that, but a ram, fiercely independent, hard to capture. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's my interpretation. I could be wildly off.
So I'm really into this art. I think that there's meaning here that we're not getting. At least I'm not getting, and maybe there's insight here. I also really like the name of the beer. As far as this, still the can art boner segment. So I'm not talking about the beer specifically.
Go check out seriously the website.
I will. There's just so much going on here. They put a lot of thought into it, and that's really what the can art boner segment was founded for. Was for the small elite group of brewers that put a lot of thought into the actual marketing of their product.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. Yeah, it's just it's fantastic. And I don't know if you said it, this one is in collaboration with Halfway Crooks.
I didn't notice that until I just pulled it out of the coos.
Okay. And it's 3.9, like you said, and it's in Asheville. I'm going to Asheville here soon. I'm going to the Smoky Mountains. We're going to be on the Tennessee side, but my mom, who's kind of the trip organizer, has authorized me one day of Asheville.
Authorized you?
Authorized, yeah, because she's got to authorize it. Burial is going to be up there. However, I don't want to have like an existential crisis while I'm drinking beer. I don't want to be like, oh my God, I'm thinking about all these things now. Because as profound as the man who lit himself on fire, the monk who lit himself on fire is, I don't want to think about him on my one vacation a summer. No offense to the man who lit himself on fire. All right, that's the can art boner segment. Beer wise, this beer was definitely at the beginning, it was hurt by the wrecked palate of the Winans beer, the Moeller beer. That beer, it's still actually, it's hard to tell whether I'm tasting a new beer or not because of that. Having said that, this is about as close to brown water beer as you're going to get. I don't hate the beer, but I don't get anything from it. I need to like clean the palate. Maybe the Busch Light will do it. And I need just like a clean taste. Yeah, I don't know. This beer doesn't have hardly any flavor. I don't know if you're getting the same thing. 3.9 without the flavor on a 3.9 beer. I don't know what's the point. The can art's phenomenal. The name's phenomenal. This has all made me want to visit Burial. I love the name of the brewery. But I'm still not getting the beer. And I think it might be because of the chocolate beer we just drank. I don't know what this beer is. I think I have to return to it after I like mouthwash or something. It's basically water to me, and I don't get any unique flavors. I'm gonna say, gosh, water's great. I love water. I don't want to give them a bad score because I can't taste any uniqueness, but I don't want to be biased because our scores are very important. These are going to go down in the annals of history.
Yeah.
The Library of Congress will keep our beer scores on file forever.
These will be put on a golden disc and launched into space.
I don't see myself ever buying this beer again. I don't get anything from it. No offense. 3.0.
So when you say 3.0, so when you say you don't ever see yourself buying this beer again, have you purchased this beer already and are sitting?
No, I haven't. I don't envision myself purchasing this beer, period. Not because it's bad, but because it's again, it falls in that non-memorable category.
And that's the key that I'm going to take away from yours and steal into my segue off the top rope. I'm at a 3.25 on this beer. It's nice to have something different that's not a Pilsner or a lager if you're going to drink at that light point. This just doesn't bring anything to the game. And I'm guessing with being an English mild, that's what it's supposed to be. It's an inoffensive, just light drinking beer that you're going to have after work before you go home to the missus. And this is not the mainstay for burial. So this is not, like you've said, and you exalted the desire to go to burial, and this hasn't turned you away from it. I think that speaks a lot. I think they effectively delivered what they were trying to do here, much with the nut brown. That had a gimmick with the chocolates. There's no gimmick here. My naivety with English milds is going to be shown through on this. I'm guessing it's a good one, but like you said, it's not memorable. It's very watery, but again, it's at 4%. It's not going to carry a lot of punch or flavor without the fruits. They're doing it in a tradition. They're doing it in a traditional manner. So I appreciate the shit out of that. But again, I'm comfortable at a 3.25 on this one.
Yeah, same. What is a 3.0? Yeah, I'm comfortable with it.
The monk that we're talking about, his name was Thic Quang Duc, and he was a Vietnamese monk that self-immolated in 1963 to protest the rule of the American inserted leader in Vietnam.
Okay. So it was kind of the anti-U.S. activist. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's probably why Rage picked them for their album cover.
Yeah. It's thought-inducing. The weird thing is that album, 1992.
Damn.
Crazy.
Wow. Yeah. That is crazy.
30 years next year. Crazy.
Yeah.
So now we're done with now, JT, I have some, and I danced around it, and I'm looking over at everything right now, all the beer. I have a quandary for you.
Mm-hmm.
So when a beer can, maybe I should go grab it, but when a beer can says keep cold, how do you interpret that?
Well, I interpret that as keep it cold for the lifetime of its existence in a closed can until you open it. That's it.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
So I kind of went over some of my exploits. So I was gifted when I was in Ohio Heady Topper. Heady Topper says keep refrigerated. Mm-hmm. So I left Ohio, had a cooler, put it in the cooler, drove 6.5 hours. So the ice, the ice packs didn't melt or whatever. So I've been taking beer in and out of people's houses as I've been going on this trip. I was just gifted a beer that said keep cold or keep cool, different interpretation. Yeah. It was obviously at room temperature. This beer, though, has fruit in it. So I'm wondering if it's like different between like an IPA that has no fruit or has no solids versus a beer that says keep cold and has fruited solids in it. So I was asking this, as I was talking with some colleagues today at work, like I've taken some of the beer in and out of a refrigerated, and it's always been cold, but some of the beer on my trip so far has been in 5 different fridges now in my hotel room. And it will be in 6 different fridges before it's consumed.
Yeah.
So is there an importance? Does it depend on the beer? Like when you when you take that, is it like the Holy Grail? So like you're going on a beer trip here and you just like, if you buy some stuff and it says keep cold, like, are you like, that's a suggestion? You're just not going to put it in a car that's going to get to like 90 degrees as you're saying there's a heat wave? How do you handle that situation?
Yeah, sometimes there's no way around it, but it really is a case by case basis. Here's when in the aughts, I believe it was the late aughts, not the early aughts, the late aughts, maybe mid. Coors was really, really trying to get people educated on their beer and how it's cold. I guess it's the heat stops at the filtering stage. Whenever in the brewing process that is, the filtering happens and the beer gets cold. And it stays cold forever until you drink it. That's their thing. And I believe they actually told people, if this is on the gas station floor on a pallet, don't buy it. Like they were okay with that, with just telling people not to buy their beer.
Reminds me of my Blapple story.
Oh, good. Because they wanted their beer to be cold filtered all the way cold until the end, until you drank it. They don't want any temperature change to affect how you drink Coors. Personally, I don't care. I don't see the difference for Coors. But
sorry, Stacey.
I really liked the question you posed about the fruit. Does the fruit matter? If it says keep cold, that's something that I would take seriously. I would keep it cold. If it said drink cold, that's different. I would chill it once I get it home. The amount of effort you're putting in is admirable. I can't say that I would put that amount of effort in myself. And so I do recognize that.
I was told by a fellow beer snob that I work with, he goes, so I have like a little marine cooler, so could probably hold 2 racks. Mm-hmm. And he goes, you need to buy a Yeti. He goes, you do this trip enough that you need something that's going to hold the temperature if you throw something ice in there. And because like I mean, I stopped by the brewing project and half the stuff that I bought there had to be cold. And then the next day I spent with my parents. So then I'm bringing beer into my dad's beer fridge, going to be there a couple hours, and I'm taking it back out. So like it's a labor of love. And one guy that I'm going to go be drinking with up here at the cabin, I mean, he's had 7,800 beers that he's checked into Untapped, 7,800 different beers.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I can take what you and I have had and multiply it, and we're almost not like at that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy. The funny thing is what you told me about Blapple. So I want to hear about your Blapple story. I'm going to tell you mine first.
All right.
So I know Blapple's out. It's massive. We're all looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. I opened my case and I've been sharing it with people that haven't had the bask in the glory of Blapple. So I went to the Quick Trip near my in-laws. Mm-hmm. And we walked into their walk-in cooler, and it's Wisconsin. Every gas station has a beer cooler, and a pretty profound one. And there's no Blapple. And I didn't ask anyone or anything like that. But there was it's a big square, and there was a sign 8 feet tall that was advertising Busch Light. And I just noticed it was like that plastic cardboard. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it's rigid.
Yeah.
And I pulled it, and right there on the floor was a rack of Blapples. And so I picked it up, and Stacy goes, it was probably hidden. And I go, yeah, I feel a little bit guilty or whatever. So I've taken that and I've given a couple to my dad. I'm wondering if it's like a worker and like they didn't, they couldn't put it in the break room or something like that. So I felt bad. But Chuggle Orion has bought 12 racks of it. He goes, hey, if you want a couple, I'm bringing a couple of the cabin. So I'll buy a couple from him. But I haven't sought it out besides that one time because the places I'm going are like all craft stuff. Like I'm not going to buy it at, I went to the Brewing Project, one of the favorites on the pod, and I'm not going to, I'm going to buy their wares. I'm not going to be like, hey, do you got some racks of Blapple just laying around? But so tell me your Blapple story.
Well, one, I think that they hit a home run because it's being talked about and it's not an embarrassment. I think craft beer people recognize that Blapple is a decent beer. It tastes like apple juice. It's crazy how just refreshing it is, how good it is, how light it is.
Without all the sugar. So like everyone's comparing it to, they're like, this is Angry Orchard without rotting my teeth out.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Yeah. But I always try to steer them away from Angry Orchard. I say it's basically like apple juice. It's just, even the beer behind it is just so subtle. So they hit a home run. Yeah, okay. Well, my Blapple story isn't as much my story as it is Katie's. As you know, my birthday was recently, and the Blapple announcement was recent. So I've been telling people who don't drink beer as much as I do that if you find it, pick it up. I'll pay you for it. I just want to kind of stockpile this stuff and have it as my usual, just casual drinking beer.
Your swill.
Yeah. No one's done that, but Katie had she made it a point to make this a birthday gift for me. She went to Shell, crispy, crunchy Shell, and they just happened to tell her when the delivery was going to be made. She went there, and she wasn't the only one. So there was a couple people, and the Anheuser-Busch truck shows up. They're offloading Bud Light, Budweiser, all their fucking seltzers and shit, and boom, finally, like a quarter pallet of Blapple. Like that's nothing. So they basically didn't even move the pallet. They stacked them. I think it was like 8 cases.
Yep, it was 8 racks
on a pallet within the walk-in that's at the Crispy Crunchy Shell on Stroop and Far Hills. And she's like, holy shit, there's like none. What happened? And so they told her the story. There's some manufacturing error. I don't know if this is true or lore, but it is like there's none to be had, and people are looking for it. And she was there when they offloaded it off the truck, got me some for my birthday. I'm so appreciative. I think I've had 3 since I got it, because I'm savoring it. I could have had one, but I've gifted so many. Got hammered. Yeah, you're very generous. So we have that, and I don't think we're going to find it again. And I think it's a home run. It's going to come out every year. And if they can continue to have this manufacturing error, and my wife can find a way to get it early on, then I'm fine with it. Yeah. If it becomes too popular, we'll get sick of it.
Right.
But I love it.
It's nice to keep it like a seasonal, and this time of year feels right,
Yeah, it feels right. And I had one, nice, ice cold. It's so refreshing. I can't describe it. I'm not embarrassed by it at all. And I that's the thing about Busch Light. One, I actually think Busch Light as a whole is like making a huge comeback for people our age, and Busch Light Apple, I just can't believe how good it is. I remember you shared one with me last year.
Yep.
And I just was blown away. I was blown away by it.
I still have last year's formula. I still have one in my fridge.
Yeah, I wish you would have recorded me drinking that, because it was absolutely unbelievable how good it was.
My because I've been back home in Wisconsin and everything, my swill drink when I go to the bar is Mick Golden Light. Mm-hmm. I make no apologies, and it's been fantastic drinking that again. But you know, my dad, who drinks a lot, had Busch Light in his fridge, and I was like, this is hilarious. He goes, yeah, I couldn't find my Mick Golden Light. And I go, wow, that's so it was crazy, like how much even he, as a guy that, you know, I mean, cans and cans and cans and cans, and I can't stress how much, but like he had Busch Light in his beer fridge. I was like, that's hilarious.
That is. Yeah, like my dad still thinks it's funny, because to him, Busch Light was always this like comedy.
Yeah.
I don't know why. To his
it's
age,
a comedy on ourselves.
It always was. It's not though. It's a good swill beer. Bud Light and Miller Lite have been the champions for so long.
I still like a Miller Lite. I mean, I really
people don't remember Busch Light. I do like Miller Lite. I don't hate it. I just don't. I buy Busch Light now. Honestly, that's my swill. I buy it. It's what I drink for my pre-show. Pre-game.
Oh yeah, no. It's
crazy.
Best part about Minnesota is Primo. The big friendly, even on the back label, the friendly beer.
There it is, the friendly beer. That's pretty cool.
I love Primo. Primo is my jam. Primo would be probably my number one swill.
I'll have to try it. Never had it.
But
yeah, that's my Blapple story. I got it from a birthday. It was a birthday gift, and it's a great birthday gift.
To get a Blapple.
Mm-hmm. A whole case.
A whole rack of Blapple.
I got a Busch Light flag.
For the bar? Will that be at the bar? I won't see it because I'll be blindfolded. Can I tell you a funny Blapple story? That's not mine.
All right.
So I told you Chuggalo Ryan has been buying up Blapple wherever he sees it, because he's going to gift it to people. So he's pushing a shopping cart filled with an unknown number of Blapples. And Chuggalo Ryan is a influencer of young lives, we'll say.
Yeah.
I'll let you interpret.
He's a coach. He's a teacher.
He's an influencer of young lives. Uh-huh. So anyways, he's pushing said cart out, and previous people he's influenced are walking into said store, and they go, Mr. O'Connell.
Oh yeah, hey Teach.
Yeah, essentially. And I go, how did that go? And he goes, yeah, those bastards, they called me out. And he's pushing out an obscene amount of beer, like in a cart. You know, the fact that he had to have a cart just to push beer out.
There's nothing wrong with that.
We're going to laugh, you know, and like these are, you know, recently graduated individuals, and they're like, hey, you know, thanks, you know, good job there.
It's like when you see your teacher who you know's hot but never is hot in class out in public, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like a hot teacher. Yeah, same thing. You're like, oh, that guy's cool, but I'm not sure how cool. And then you see him with a cart full of Busch Light Apple, and you're like, oh, this dude's cool as hell.
Plus,
he knows what's up.
Blapple is fun to say like butthole pleasure.
It is.
Those two are synonymous.
I was asked about the Blapple phrase, but I can't remember by who. Oh yeah, I went and played poker with Andy and some of the friends that he's introduced me to here in my town.
Yeah.
And I said Blapple, and they were like, Blapple? They didn't get it. But they eventually did. Good. And I won poker, by the way. First time ever.
Make them into quality, and if they sound like quality people, we can all learn, you know, cool guy language, as I like to say, cool guy stuff.
Cool guy language. Yeah, yeah. I won poker, by the way.
Congratulations.
First time I've ever won. It was great.
So
Totally lucky.
Yeah, and Andy was involved in that game, so congratulations on your $15 win.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually 10 times that because I won the whole thing.
$25?
Yeah, just
10,
about. It was great. I can go and buy myself some more Blapple if I can find it.
Was it all Hold'em?
Yeah. So they suggested before the game that we do dealer's choice, which I love. But one, there's two things you should know.
Andy, by the way, fought me tooth and nail every time. I'm like, I'm not going to play if it's just Hold'em.
I love the dealer's choice game. It's undisputable that that's a better way to play poker with friends.
Yeah.
But two things you need to know about me: I cannot remember nor deliver the punchline to a written joke. So I'm only funny when I can just like make it up on the fly. If there's a joke, I don't know the punchline, I'll forget it. Even if you tell it to me 3 times, I'll forget it. I'll forget the punchline or deliver it incorrectly. And two, I can't remember those sub games, those games to cards. There's all these really fun ones.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any of them. And if I did remember like the names, I won't remember how to explain it.
Yeah.
So the dealer's choice for me is like 5-card stud or Hold'em.
That's fine. Be that guy because
That's all I know.
Other people will rely on their other games. So
yeah, my brother-in-law, he plays dealer's choice, and they have some really fun games. I mean, they have games that they'll go for an hour.
Yeah.
Just one hand of cards. It's crazy. It's awesome.
The best.
Fun. Yeah.
The best because everyone's still involved and it's not all about rebuying and everything like that.
Yep.
So.
Yep. But these guys, I think they were just kind of trying to play poker, Whereas when we play, it's about just getting together. Like we basically just give everyone their money back at the end of the night because no one won.
It's a backdrop.
It is. It's a backdrop to hanging out.
If I have a good night, I have no problem lying, or laying down $50. Who cares?
Yeah,
it's about the event. It's going to happen to me this weekend. So,
well,
it's great to win. It's
teaser.
It's great to win. It's good to be involved.
That's right. It's good to win. It's great to be involved.
What?
Yeah. So Blapple. And how did we start the segment? There was something else there.
It was the cold beer. It was the keeping the beer
cold beer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Cold beer. So I'm keeping it cold as long as it tells me to.
Yep.
Take the expert's advice.
But the problem is, like, sometimes when you're gifted stuff, you're not gifted. It's And I didn't realize either. So I've got a hotel fridge that's jam packed with beer and stuff that I know doesn't have to stay cold. Like I brought up some cellared stuff that just keep cool. That's out. Like I almost asked for another fridge. It's ridiculous. Just bringing in fucking pallets of shit. So
yeah,
that's my life.
I had a question in there, but I forgot it. So forgot.
That's right. It happens.
God, what was it?
You know what the best part is? We have two episodes of these next week.
Yeah.
We're gonna record 2 Chuggalos. You're not gonna get them.
Don't get them Tuesday to Tuesday. Yeah.
We'll tip our hand on you a little.
Last Tuesday was the first Tuesday we ever took off.
False. First one that I was involved with that we took off.
Yeah, like didn't post is what I mean.
Please. When I was deployed a couple years ago, you guys took a month off.
No, we didn't.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
We posted every week. I'll have to look.
There was gaps. Because if we posted, so we're coming up on 2018, it'll be 3 years. It should be a lot more episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if it's coming up on 3 years, yeah, we should be at like 158 or 156 episodes in August.
We're going to be less than that.
Yeah, we'll be light, but I don't think we skipped any weeks. I tried to make sure we never did.
Yeah. I could go. I could go through.
Look. It's fine. Anyway.
I've got it right here.
I have to take a piss like so bad.
Oh, that's fine. We can.
You want to talk or you want to end it?
No, we can kill it here. We've got there's a lot of heft on this.
There's some heft. There's some
Yeah.
heft. All right.
23
Well,
October 19 to 17 November 19. That's a big gap.
No, we did not miss a month.
23 October 19 to 17 November 19.
23 October to 17 November.
That's a couple weeks.
23 October. There's no way we missed that long. To 17 November. All right, I'll look into it.
You saved me that Ellicottville, that super duper jelly, that jelly-filled donut beer. That was the beer.
So we skipped 3 weeks of podcasts or 2 weeks of podcasts. I don't believe it. Well, I have to pee really bad, so that's the Brew Crew podcast, episode 147. Doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Tip of the iceberg.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
How do I stop the recording?